Thank you, Speaker. I move the Greens amendments 1 to 4 as circulated, and wanted to highlight that these amendments, as my colleague in the other place pointed out, do one simple thing. And I should say that we are moving these amendments in the lower house, because what we do know about this place is that us as local members represent clear constituent groups. We represent constituent groups that will be going out in the coming months, buying gift cards and handing them over, and in the process they will be going into their wallets and seeing that they have gift cards that have actually expired. And all of us in this place represent those constituents. And as we have heard in relation to this amendment that the Greens will be moving, which is a simple amendment, instead of having the gift cards expire within 3 years, it will mean that the gift cards will not expire. Now, the reason we believe that we should move this amendment is as simple as saying when you go to an ATM and you take out cash, that cash doesn't expire. These gift cards are owned by the people who purchased them or the people that were given that gift. They are not owned by the big corporate retailers that put their logo and brand on that gift card. It's pretty simple, really. It is about the idea of who owns this gift card and who should be able to get services or goods as a result of having that gift card. It appears that while it is a good move to have a 3-year limit put on it, for some bizarre reason after 3 years the ownership of that gift card returns back to the big retailer, and that's not something that the Greens are keen to see, and it is something that we are keen to move an amendment to in this place. It's unusual because often the Greens have views that some might say are supported by the minority, but I would say in this case we are the ones in this chamber that are actually standing up for a view that the majority of people in New South Wales would agree with. And as the member for Newtown, it's pretty rare that I hold a view that the majority of people in New South Wales would agree with. And I would actually say that if we had a free vote on this issue in this place, we would see the majority of individual members supporting this amendment. When you have the member for Epping and the member for Newtown in this place agreeing, can I tell you, I think that suggests that the majority of people in New South Wales would agree. However, what we are going to see here, I would expect, is we are going to move this amendment and there will be a very small amount of people sitting on the side in support of this amendment. And what we will see is the Labor opposition joining with the Liberal National Government. The Labor opposition joining with the Liberal National Government to be able to oppose this amendment. This amendment does one simple thing. It says that when you pay money for a gift card and a retailer provides you with a gift card to give to somebody else, they have the ability to use that gift card to purchase goods or services without it expiring. What this amendment does is say, yes, that should be how it works. In fact, instead what we are going to see is the Labor opposition join with the Liberal National Government to instead say after 3 years, sorry you poor punter, sorry you poor individual that actually is struggling to be able to do whatever you want to do in life because the cost of living is so high and we've failed to address the affordable housing crisis in this state. But we are going to take this gift card, literally steal it back from you, steal the money out of your pocket and hand it back to a big retail outlet. That is what is going to happen in this chamber, and I urge members to consider whether or not they really want to support it. I'm going to keep talking for a little while because I want you to be able to have a moment to consider whether this is really something you want to do. To be able to say that after 3 years we will support large corporate interests stealing that money back off individual people in our communities and putting it back onto their profit line. That is an unacceptable situation for anybody, and I can tell you that every member in this place knows that that is a really, really unacceptable reality. Now, we've heard the Minister call out some of the concerns and pressures that have been faced as a result of the Australian Retailers Association and the pressure that has been put on ministers. Now, in that situation, what we have heard from what the Minister report is at least no less than, according to what the Minister just said, 12 ministers have been lobbied by the Retailers Association in relation to this bill. The thing that still remains unknown in this place, and I think the question that needs to be answered, is how many Labor opposition people were met with by this Retailers Association. Because otherwise you would have to think that the Labor Party would be supporting the Greens amendment when it comes to saying that we should not be taking money off individual people and returning it back to big retailers. But maybe what we are seeing here, lo and behold, is the fact that whether it is the government or the opposition, the Labor opposition, really, their interests are not with the people of New South Wales. Their interests are with the people that give them large corporate donations. Their interests are with the people that lobby them and allow them to maintain their power. And can I just say that this isn't the first and it isn't the last time that I will call out the hypocrisy of the so-called Labor opposition joining with the government, with the Liberals and Nationals, opposing a Greens amendment in this place to see a situation where they are advancing the interests of big business and, in this case, literally stealing the money out of individual people's pockets to hand it back to the big corporate retailers. It is clear that if we had a vote in this place that was not along party lines, that we would have a majority support for the fact that these gift cards should not expire. It is clear that if we went out to the community of New South Wales and said to them, do you think after 3 years it is fair that a big retailer takes that card back and says, you can't actually spend that anymore? That gift that your granny gave you or your sister gave you or your auntie gave you, I'm sorry, it's expired, we now own that. We wouldn't accept it if you went and bought a book from the bookshop and 3 years later the bookshop said, okay, if you used it now for 3 years, we'll come and take the book off you or the dress off you or whatever it is you bought. We just wouldn't accept that. So why should we accept that the gift card can be taken back? It is clear, it is absolutely clear that this is workable because large retailers are currently doing this. I appreciate that the Minister has stood up to pressure to be able to take things this far, but a 3-year expiry date, a 12-month expiry date, a 6-month expiry date is ludicrous. This is about cash, this is about who owns the goods, this is about who owns the money and who was given the gift. And the gift card should not be given back to the corporate retailer after this short amount of time. The Greens are moving this amendment because we believe that people should not be stolen from and have their gift that they were given returned back to the retailer if their gift card expires. We believe there should not be an expiry date and that's why we move the amendment. I urge all members to consider supporting this amendment and I would welcome the opportunity to hear from the Labor Party as to whether or not they also received meetings from the Australian Retailers Association in relation to this bill.